Hey, Latonia. Hey, Doug.
How's your Sunday going?
Pretty good. Busy. How about yours?
The same.
Yeah, I just got back from Buffalo not too long ago.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Doug. Ready for a big nap.
Yeah, I need a weekend to get over my weekend. I hear you say you just got back from Buffalo.
Yeah, I went out there with my fiance to finalize the wedding stuff with the venue and to see the wedding stuff with the reception stuff with the reception venue, and then to see the wedding venue. Then we went like bowling last night, and yeah, so I'm tired.
Yeah, Buffalo's away. I mean, it's long enough a ways that it's a trip.
Yeah.
That's exciting. When's the wedding this summer?
No, next month, April 7th. So
Oh, wow.
a couple weeks away.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm ready to get it done and over with. That's one less thing to stress about.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
What you been up to, Doug?
Work. Just working. I'm doing a day job during the week, and then weekends I've been working on a website for a client that's keeping me pretty busy. But this weekend I managed to visit my wife's mother and go visit my parents. So that was good to fit that in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, see some family.
How about you, Latonia?
I'm sorry. What did you? I heard what he said, but what was your question?
What have you been up to?
Working on projects. I've been doing some dev shop work, and then I have like some other stuff going on. I met with Max on Friday, and we deployed my site. If you want me to send you the link so you can go visit it, please let me know. I'm so excited. But yeah, I've just been trying to get stuff lined up. So I have some like I do original graphic design. So I have like a couple shops and stuff. So just trying to get stuff situated. And now we're coming into tax season. So just working through my to-do pile.
Okay, yes, I would love the link.
Okay, I will send it.
Yeah, likewise. Well, where did you deploy it?
So a little backstory. Nate taught us Heroku when we went through C2. And at the time it was free. Then they switched. And I switched all my stuff over thinking it might be 20 or 30 bucks a month. They've been charging me $100 a month. So, and this has been going on for months. So Max taught me the old school way. We used DigitalOcean, CertBot, and a couple of different things like that. So I did it the old school way. And now because you can deploy off of the same project from my dev, because I use my .dev site as like my main for everything. So it'll be $6, unlimited deploys. So
wow.
Yeah. So that was awesome. So now that's one of the things on my to-do list is I need to figure out which ones I think are worth keeping from all that kind of portfolio stuff we did. And then I'm going to transition stuff into the legacy code status. He had talked about doing that. And the other stuff I'm going to redeploy using the method he showed me. But I'm here today because that stuff is now on Heroku. And I'm interested to see what Nate says about, switching that stuff over. So yeah. So, and we did like a 2-hour power session. It was really fun. I went to his house. Like it was just a really good experience. So
cool.
Awesome that they would charge you $100 a month, but awesome that you was able to get it for a lower price.
$6. It could have been 5, 12. Like it's just it's whatever tier you pick. But literally, once you have your first one set up, you just go in and you can just add to it because it's gonna, based on the name, it's gonna pick which port to deploy it to present it on. So I was like, that's ridiculous. I've wasted. That's it's been going on for months. So I don't even know how much money they've gotten from me.
Mm.
Christy, Nathan, how you doing?
Test, test, test.
We can hear you.
We hear you.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle.
Oh,
Long time no see.
If it looks like I'm looking away from y'all, it's because my camera's in front of me, but I got you on the screen to the left of me, so I am looking at y'all.
Same thing here.
I'll be back in 10 seconds. Hey, thanks everybody for coming. The agenda for today is not fixed. We can pretty much do whatever. My first thought was that we could take a look at the slides and talk a little bit about theory. But this is mainly just going to be for the folks that have stuff on Heroku and want to move it over to AWS. I'm going to help you get that done today. I also selfishly have an agenda for today. I really want to teach future cohorts how to use Terraform. Has anybody here heard of Terraform?
I think I've heard that name, but I don't know what it is.
So it's like a programming language, and what it lets us do is it lets us define all the AWS things we want. It lets us define it as code instead of what I did this cohort with all the students, which was we went into AWS UI and we clicked a bunch of things and entered in a bunch of settings. What I was hoping today, if y'all are open to it, what I was hoping today is to try to do the Terraform approach to see if that's easier, if it makes more sense, and if it does, and this goes well, then I will want to use it for future cohorts. So does that sound? I got a thumbs up from Latonia. Does that sound good? And I know, Christy, I know I have your thumbs up because we're pretty much good on your stuff. So this is going to be icing on the cake, I think.
Plus, you already told me all of this.
Okay. So Larry, does that sound good with you? Larry, Doug, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm game.
I'm just here for more information. Basically, I've already been paying for Heroku since I graduated, and yeah, I just figured I'd get some more information. Plus, a lot of the job applications things I'm looking at for jobs mention AWS, so I figured it couldn't hurt to learn something. So.
Cool. Then let's go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen, and we will do a quick rundown. I'm not going to bore everyone to death with all the material that we covered in class. We're just going to talk real high level for a minute about some of this stuff. So let me share the screen. Okay. And then one last thing. Let me make sure I have this pushed up.
Hey, Nate, can I ask, are you recording this? Will you be sharing a link or something?
Yes, this is being recorded right now. Pause recording. Yep, we are live. Okay. So recall back to when we were all working on Heroku. Remember how Git was integral to all of it? Remember how when we wanted to make a deploy to Heroku, we essentially had to do a Git commit, and then we pushed to Heroku. It was like a Git push or Git push Heroku main. That was kind of the flow that we did, and it was very Git centric. Unfortunately, with AWS, it's a little bit different. You can still achieve the same sort of thing with Git that we did with Heroku. You can still kind of achieve that same sort of thing, but we're not going to cover that today. So kind of put aside all of the get knowledge that you have, because unfortunately I'm not going to be building on that today. So we're going to just jump straight ahead to deploying. And I'm not going to talk about the other platforms. We'll just skip over that. But I do want to just mention real briefly, kind of to Kyle's point, like why is AWS popping up? Well, they are the biggest, and by a very, very wide margin. GCP used to kind of give Google's products used to kind of give AWS a run for its money, but not anymore. It's not even a close second. In fact, it's a third according to this diagram. So AWS just kind of pops up everywhere, and it's one of those things that more often than not, if you go work at a company, they're going to be powered by an AWS stack. Okay, so who here has not signed up for an AWS account? Personal AWS account. A couple of people. Okay, let's go and do that real quick. So the link, I'm going to paste this into chat. The link is here.
Would you suggest I follow along even though I'm not going to be deploying anything today, just to sign up? Or
Do you want to deploy something today? I've got the blog. I have the blog from class. If you're interested in something to deploy.
I mean, sure, yeah, just to have something to deploy, sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
You still need me to sign up for a personal account though in order to do that?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll do that. There really shouldn't be any surprises to setting up the AWS account. The only thing to keep in mind is the support level should just be basic once you get to that step.
Are we entering credit card information?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm slowing us up, then you just go ahead.
No, we're all good. This is what we're here for.
If you already have something set up with Amazon, you don't have to re-enter any information because it just used the information that I already had in the system.
Yeah, it's interesting. I got an email this morning from AWS saying something about how they are not going to use, they're not going to allow you to use your Amazon.com billing credentials over on AWS. I'm wondering if that's changing. But I know what you're talking about, Christy. Like I've had the same thing. I have a Prime account.
I better check. Yeah, because I have Prime too.
Yeah, I got some kind of email this morning, and in fact, I can probably pull it up here. I got some kind of email saying that they were doing away with the credential linking across or something.
And Nathan, I have a question about managing the billing, if we can go over that later on.
Oh yeah, sure. That's actually what we're going to talk about next. Is
Okay, because I got a message that I've surpassed my threshold for
okay,
free tier usage.
right. Which one?
AWS free tier usage product, AWS data transfer.
Okay, is that the 1 gig that they give you?
1 gig, and I've used 800 megabytes or 0.88 gigs.
Yeah, we blow past that pretty quick.
Okay, I was just curious, like, is there a way for me to figure out what that is referring to? Is that the back end, the front end? Is that visits to the site? Is that the stuff I upload?
Good question. It's literally any transfer that you make. There is some stuff that's free, like for example, with S3, when you upload files, the ingress doesn't cost anything, but there's still charges for each transaction. Like, I mean, we're talking about like tenths of pennies kind of.
Oh yeah, my total bill is still probably around $1. I just want to be able to keep an eye on, what it is I'm getting charged for, so I know just how to manage it.
Right. Yeah, I would to see where the download costs are coming from, I would check out CloudFront, because CloudFront actually has some pretty cool statistics. And while folks are finishing up their AWS sign up, let me show this really quick. Yeah, so CloudFront has some kind of cool statistics. You can see who's downloading what. You can go into CloudFront under distributions, and you can see, like under usage, you can see the amount of traffic that's coming in from different places. And even in my opinion, more cool is you can see under popular objects, you can see the number of people requesting different files from your website. So you can see how many times someone loaded the front page of your website. You can see mine is chock full of people trying to find vulnerabilities, like somebody's trying to find a WordPress login, and somebody's looking to see if I uploaded a .m file. So this is all kind of garbage. But if you want to see who's accessing and using your website, you can check out this reports and analytics in CloudFront, and that will kind of tell you some of those neat details.
And does CloudFront refer? Is that just stats on the front end?
Yes,
Okay.
that's just the front end. Yeah.
Is there something similar for monitoring back end activity?
Not as interesting, or I guess as well packaged as the CloudFront stuff. I know that there's stuff in Elastic Beanstalk. We would just kind of have to dig a little bit, like under environments, we would probably switch. Yeah, so under the monitoring tab, you can kind of get some of these high level metrics. So like here we can see over the period of the last 24 hours, there was 2 megs in, 273 megs egress, 425 requests. So you can kind of get some of these, but obviously this is a little bit different, right? It's not talking about browser types, and it's not talking about where users are located. So a little bit different metrics.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Kyle, Tony, are we looking good?
I'm all set.
Almost there.
Okay.
Just confirming my identity from my phone.
So I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit. So what we need in order to use Terraform, I asked students in class to do this because I need a way to get in and troubleshoot their accounts. But we actually need this for ourselves today, because we're going to need an access key and a secret access key. So if you already have these, then great, just reuse that. But if you don't have this, come set this up with me. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a user, and we're going to get two credentials, and we're going to use that to run our Terraform code. So in class, I call this the Nathan user, but what we're going to call this is the machine user, because we're going to let Terraform the machine create some stuff for us in AWS. So let's go over to IAM. IAM in AWS is where it's called identity and access management. It's where in your AWS account, it's where you invite people to work on your project. It's where you set passwords for users. It's where you can create groups. If you're familiar with Active Directory in Microsoft land, IAM is kind of the equivalent there. It's really the central authority for your Amazon account in terms of who can log in, what their credentials are, what they can access, etc. So we're going to go into IAM. We're going to create a user so we can interact with our AWS project. All right, so the link to go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're sending it now? Because I had signed in as the root, but I don't think I'm in the right place.
Do sign in as root. Stay logged in as the root user. Yep. And then go to this link that I pasted. You should see something similar to my screen. It's going to ask you to specify a user. Just call the user machine. And then we have a number of options here. What we're going to do, I know the slide here says to attach administrator access. Let's not do that. Let's not give this user a ton of permissions. Let's give this user some very specific permissions. So what we're going to do is there's a button over here that says attach policies directly. Click on that. Actually, sorry.
Sorry,
Let me
I
back
missed
up.
how you got to that screen. I'm signed in now, console home.
Okay. Did you see the last link that I pasted in Zoom?
No, I didn't. Okay,
Well,
it was
click
a
on
Zoom.
that.
Okay, I'll find it. Thanks.
I went to that link, but my screen looks oh, that's what I'm seeing.
Yep. Okay. So do you have machine entered in as a username?
Yes.
Kyle, you got the same thing? Cool. All right, click next. Click on the attach policies directly. It's the far right of the three cards that you have on your screen. And we are actually going to, give this administrator access. So you can type that in the box, or it should be like box number 2 here. So just check that. You can type in administrator. It should just be right there. So just click on administrator access. Kind of going back and forth here. We don't really want to give full administrator access to this user, but I'm not sure we can get away with it. So let's just do administrator access for now. All right. So attach policies directly, administrator access, scroll down to the bottom. There's a next, click on next. Just kind of some details to summarize. Bottom right, create user. All right, it'll take you back to the landing page for IAM. Click on the machine user that you just created. You should now be staring at a page that has some details about machine user. Okay. All right, so let's get those keys that I'm talking about. So go over to security credentials. It's this tab here in the middle of the screen. Right now we're looking at permissions, groups, tags. Click on security credentials. And then down here in the bottom where it says access keys, right below the assign MFA device, there's create access key. We're going to do that. We're going to create an access key here. And when it says what kind of access key, we're going to do the very first option, first radio button. We're going to click CLI. It's going to ask us if we're sure.
Man, I'm a little bit behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm on the part where we had to specify user details.
Specify user details back when we're creating machine.
Yeah, machine user, yeah.
Did you did you attach the administrator access policy to it?
No, it says provide user access to AWS Management Console optional.
Let's see. Let's go previous. Oh, so from here, yeah, don't check that box. Just hit next. Then you see what's up on my screen.
Yes.
Okay, hit attach policies directly. It's the far right.
Okay.
And then administrator access is the permission policy we're going to attach.
Okay.
And then the bottom.
The job,
Say what?
you click that one that says job function.
Yep. The AWS managed job function administrator access. Yep.
What if I didn't?
You didn't click that at all?
I clicked one, but I didn't click the one that said job function.
Oh, that's okay. So we can attach it here in a second after you've created it. So Larry, once you have administrator access selected, just hit next, keep going, create user.
Okay. It should be, looks like it's created, user successfully created.
Cool. So it's showing up in the users list.
Yeah.
All right. So click into that user. So machine, click onto that. Christy, click into your machine user. Do you see permission policies here in the, do you have administrator access?
I see 0 for the permission policies, but maybe I didn't get as far as y'all.
Oh, okay. So if you don't see administrator access or you have something different there, click on add permission, add permissions. It'll take you back to that screen. So we'll attach the policies directly here. And you should see, you can also type into the box, you can type in administrator access. I don't see it because mine already had that added. But if you see it there, check it and
Yeah, I see it.
next.
Yeah.
Got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Christy, are you able to add it?
You said check it and click next.
Yep, check in and click next.
Or I got generate policy. I don't have a next.
And then hit add permissions.
I did that already. Okay. I'm on the screen right now. All right.
So do you see administrator access now on your user?
Yep. Thank you.
Christy, do you see administrator access? Yep. Okay, cool. All right, so we'll get those security credentials. So now that you've got this user with administrator access, click on security credentials. It's here in the middle of the screen next to permissions, groups, tags, security credentials. And then there's create access key. It's about midway, halfway down the page, create access key. Okay. And if you aren't able to find this, let me know. Okay, so we're going to create a CLI access key. So click that first radio button and then check the box at the bottom. Just hit next. It asks you if you want to give a tag. It doesn't matter. Just click ahead, create access key. All right. Now I'm going to make sure to revoke mine before this recording goes live. So I don't mind sharing this on screen right now, but you should definitely never, ever share these with someone else. Don't accidentally commit them to a GitHub repo. Don't paste them in Slack to somebody that you don't trust. With this key, with this administrator access key, folks can do some pretty awful things. So make sure you keep these somewhere secure. If you're using 1Password or some kind of password manager, that would be a great place to keep these. But I'm going to hit the download CSV file. I'm just going to keep a copy of these on my computer until I need them later. So hit download CSV file or just grab the values on the screen, whatever you want. Just need to save those somewhere. Anybody having trouble getting access keys? This is, without these, we're kind of stuck. So Schneider, hi.
Hey, you can revoke it and like create a new one, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna do the same thing because it's been a while since I was on my AWS.
Yeah, it's a good idea to rotate them regularly. But Schneider, we did this in class. Remember the access key and secret key you pasted me at the beginning?
Yep. That's why I wanna revoke it and create a new one, just to like get my
Yeah.
foot in it.
Feel free to do that, or feel free to use them during class. It's up to you.
Gotcha.
Either one will work. In fact, those keys that we generated in class will work. So, okay. Now we have keys. So let's move on to let's move on to the next stuff. Okay. Spiel. Some I know a couple of people have already heard this, but I think I told the story in the older in the previous cohorts. But yeah, don't lose your keys. Make sure you keep them, and if you don't take good care of your keys, you can rack up huge charges on EC2. You can run into some serious problems. So make sure that you keep those keys secret and keep them safe. The other thing I highly recommend is that you turn on MFA for your AWS account, and it's really important. So I'm actually going to stop and ask people to do that right now. Don't do it on the user that we just created. Don't create an MFA device. Create an MFA device for your root user. To do that, go up here to the top right of AWS and click on your profile and go to security credentials. That will take you to your root user in IAM. From there, create an MFA device. And the link for that is here in Zoom. Or you can just follow along with what I'm doing on my screen, which again, click up in the top right under your name, go to security credentials, and then click on assign MFA device or create MFA device. That will take you through the tutorial for creating a MFA for like Google Authenticator or Authy or Microsoft Authenticator, any of those. Does anybody have questions about creating an MFA device?
I have a question about the usage of it.
Sure.
So this is the first time when we did it in class, this was the first time I ever did it. And so I downloaded it, I scanned the QR code. So I guess it's a inside the authenticator, I now have an AWS number. And so whenever it asks for it, I just open up the authenticator and it's always there and it's just always updating. Is that how you're supposed to use it? Or do you delete it when you're done and create a new one? Like a new, it's like, it's inside of authenticator, there's a little strip and it's the AWS and the number there.
Yeah. Just leave it. Just leave it.
That's how you use it. Got it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So behind the scenes, the way that it's working is it's a time-based passcode. So there's a hash and then the clock, the time on your phone or whatever device you're using. The combination of this secret hash and the clock generates that 6-digit number. And as the clock rolls, that number keeps updating. So really all you have stored on your phone right now in that app, all you have is this big long hash. This it's not a password, but big long hash. So yeah, don't delete that.
All right, thank you.
Dumb question. The device name, is that 1Password or is that like something to signify this website I'm deploying? I'm a little confused what device name means.
It means like, how do you want to refer to the device that is holding onto your one-time password? Like for example,
So
I do all my
1Password
work.
would be a logical thing to type in there.
Totally. If you're using 1Password,
Okay.
absolutely. Yep. Okay, while people are setting up MFA devices, I'm just going to talk through the costs. When you create an AWS account, you get a full year of free tier. That free tier covers some stuff. I have it linked here in the slides. I realize that I haven't pasted these slides. There's the slides if anybody wants to follow along, but there's a link here in the slides to see exactly what you get under the free tier. But the gist of the cost is that you will probably, for all that we're doing today, you will probably pay under $1 for this. And when I say under $1, I mean like $1 for about a month's worth of hosting. So think of the first year, you're going to probably be spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 to $3 a month on AWS hosting costs. After the free tier, so after that first year ends, there are still some things that you get for free, but your cost will jump from like $1 to $3 to potentially 11 to 14. That's where my stuff kind of hovers. So 11 to $14 a month. You can optimize some of that. And if you're ever interested in like, how can I do this a little bit cheaper, feel free to reach out. But that's kind of what we're talking about with the costs here. So is it competitive with Heroku? Kind of. They're different, right? Like Heroku charges you per app. AWS charges you per the resources that you use. So it's just a little bit different. But that's what we're talking about in terms of costs. Yeah, and I put that on here. Okay, let's jump into setting stuff up. So what I have done with this current cohort is I've asked the students to go in and go basically on a point and click adventure with me. And it's lengthy, it's time consuming, it's a lot of work. We are not going to do that today. We're going to take a very large shortcut. But I do just want to mention, I do want to just talk briefly about these things because I'm going to keep saying things like Amazon CloudFront, Amazon S3, and Elastic Beanstalk, and I want everyone to be able to understand what we're talking about. So, AWS S3. Has anybody heard of this already? Kyle, have you heard of S3 before?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to set up Google Authenticator because 1Password's not letting me in anymore because it was a work-related account. So.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. But yes, that's what they used at work. Yeah.
Okay. So the best way that I could describe S3 is it's like Dropbox, but for programmers. Technically, you have unlimited storage. There's an maximum 5 terabyte file size, which good luck hitting. But just think of S3 as this very, very simple program. It just lets you upload files to it. What we're going to use S3 for is uploading our front end code. So that's S3. You can use it for pretty much anything though. You can store video, you can store photos, you can store code, and pretty much anything you want in S3. So that's S3. Anybody have questions about S3? I'm just going to kind of gloss over this, unless anybody has specific details they want me to go into on this. Okay. So that's S3. CloudFront. So to understand CloudFront, you have to understand what the disadvantages of S3 are. So S3 is just kind of a generic place for storing files. It's simple. S3 is really just meant about scaling and storing lots and lots and lots of data. So S3 is really simple. That's just how it is. It doesn't do a lot of things. So that's where CloudFront comes in. CloudFront is specialized for handling front-end files. It's specialized for handling distributing files to browsers, to people based on where they are. So think of CloudFront as as kind of being the shell that wraps S3. If S3 is at the core, CloudFront is kind of the shell that wraps it. CloudFront is all about taking the files in S3, because S3 is, again, just something very, very simple and basic. CloudFront is taking the files from S3 and it's distributing it out to as close to the user as possible. So if I'm in Florida and I'm trying to visit Larry's website, and Larry's website is based in Oregon, because that's where the S3 bucket is located, CloudFront is going to take those files in Oregon and it's going to distribute it to the closest data center in Florida, wherever I am browsing on my phone from. So CloudFront is about taking those files, getting it as close to the user, and when the files are geographically close to the user, that means that the file is going to get loaded that much quicker, right? Making a request to a local data center to fetch a file is on the order of milliseconds faster than going all across the United States to a completely different data center to download the same file, right? So CloudFront is a CDN, it's a content delivery network. It's about optimizing how fast files can download and trying to place those files as close to the user as possible. Okay, so we've talked about 2 of the 3 technologies here. The last one is Elastic Beanstalk. Elastic Beanstalk is Heroku for all intents and purposes. It's the place that lets us run our code, run our servers specifically. We can actually host the front end through Elastic Beanstalk, but it's just easier to do it through CloudFront and S3. But Beanstalk is really where we're going to take the Node.js server, or if you write Go or Python or Java or any of those languages, that's where you would run those servers. So Elastic Beanstalk is different because you're actually provisioning servers to run 24/7 and actually execute your code. It also manages the database, and what else am I missing? Really any other additional backend resources you need. If you need Redis, if you need any other kind of backend service, that's where you're going to pull those things together. So 3 things: CloudFront and S3, those are both linked together. They're kind of one and the same in how we're going to use them. And then Elastic Beanstalk. So we've got those 3 pieces. Any questions before we move on from this high level, very, very high level overview?
Yeah, I have a question, Nathan. Is this free and open source? I remember having a problem with Heroku where it expired and had to deploy with GitHub pages.
Sorry, I heard I heard part of that. I had a hard time picking out what you were saying. Was anybody able to understand what Mel was saying?
I'll give it a shot. Oh, he came up.
He just put in the chat, is this service free?
Yeah, I think he was trying to say, like, you know how we had Heroku and then they switched over and we get these insane bills. Are we gonna like have those kind of issues? Should we anticipate those kind of issues?
So Elastic Beanstalk, you don't pay for Elastic Beanstalk. Elastic Beanstalk is a collection of other services, specifically EC2. EC2 is where in AWS where you rent servers from. With the free tier, you get like 700 something hours per month of free servers. So for the first year, it's going to cost us pennies to use Elastic Beanstalk, or more specifically to rent servers using EC2. After that, it's going to jump up to a couple bucks a month is what we're looking at. So not free. There's some things that you get for free with AWS, and then there's some things that are that you have to pay. pay a little bit for.
Yeah, so
Um,
relative to whether I should move stuff over to AWS, because I hadn't really thought too much about it before, I literally just saw this link this afternoon to this talk. With Heroku, I was paying like the $7.99 a month, or I am paying whatever it is, so that it's not slow when it boots up.
Yep.
This doesn't have that issue at all?
No,
Even
yeah.
level?
You don't have that issue at all. They don't.
Okay, so I would save some money by moving this over. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like it's so highly variable on AWS that it's hard for me to say that you're going to save X amount. And it's hard for me to say that you're going to spend this amount. All I can really give you is anecdotes, especially with the number of configuration options you have in AWS. I try to point people at spending the least amount on stuff in AWS, but it's still variable. It's hard to say. All right.
But I did put my credit card in and I'm going to deploy your blog. So I probably will want to make sure my credit card isn't charged for that in a year or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll like
Yep.
take it down or something, or.
Yep. And we can tear all of that down after we're done with this today.
Okay.
All right. So this is anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna jump into some Terraform. Okay. So this is where in the class, at least, we get to do all of this fun stuff. We get to go through a whole bunch of button clicking and a whole lot of setup. I'm going to jump ahead to a different section here. So let's talk about Terraform. It's kind of hard for me to talk about Terraform without first letting you see what it looks like. But the general idea is that Terraform is kind of like a programming language, but for declaring that we want to have these sorts of resources created. So instead of going into AWS and clicking on a bunch of buttons and saying, I want this in S3, I want this in CloudFront, and I want this in Elastic Beanstalk. Instead of going in there and clicking on those buttons, instead what we're going to do is we're going to use Terraform to call AWS's APIs to create those things for us. And to get started doing that, what we're going to do is install Terraform. Terraform is a binary. It's a program that we run on our machines. So to get that, we're going to go and brew install Terraform. If you don't have brew, let me know, but you should be able to open up some kind of terminal, and you can get to a terminal by doing Spotlight and going into a terminal. You can do this anywhere in any terminal that you want, but go into a terminal, do a brew install Terraform.
That's the quickest brew install has ever done anything. Usually when I brew install something, it takes like 10 minutes.
And Nathan, it doesn't matter what directory we're in when we do that. Okay.
Not right now. Yep.
On another note, Nathan, I like when I was doing some brew stuff before, it was one of my computers was kind of yelling at me saying that I had the ARM 64 architecture, but it was looking for like the x86, if I'm not mistaken. And like,
yikes. Were you able to fix it?
I don't even know. Because I know one is, stashing it. I mean, storing stuff in like opt something and.
Oh, yuck.
So
Yeah.
I had to reset my computer to factory settings.
So if you do brew install Terraform, do you get anything?
On this computer is fine. This is
Okay.
I'm on the computer from school. It's taking a minute because it's updating brew, but on my personal MacBook, it's not.
Hey, Nate, I have a question. This is Latonia. It's saying run and brew update, auto update. But it's been on this for a while. Should I be worried or?
Mine's the
No,
same.
it's brew being brew. Like
Okay.
it knows that you never want to update your software, so it holds you ransom to updating your software before it installs. It's the worst. But yeah, just give it a minute to install Terraform. In the meanwhile, while you've got Terraform, while you've got Brew installing your Terraform, let's go ahead and jump ahead. So I've got a repo that I created called Terraform Capstone. And what I would really appreciate is for folks to clone this down. So I kind of lied at the beginning. We do have to dust off our Git cap just a little bit. You have I know a few of you have been using Git quite a bit, so I'm not going to tell you how to clone this down. But if you don't really remember Git, one way that you can get this is using GitHub Desktop, right? So you can go up to the repo picker, click on Add, click Clone Repository, and then you can paste this in. That's one way of cloning this down.
He wants to clone the one you set up.
Yes, please clone my repo down. Yeah, this. I want you to get this code. Yep. Yeah, let me paste that into chat too, so I can save people some time. So yeah, you could do that through there. If you're super cool, you can also do it in the terminal. It's your preference.
I'm super cool.
Yeah, we got some command line Git users. I like it.
Wait, can you tell me again from GitHub how to do that?
Sure. So open up. Do you have GitHub Desktop open?
I clicked that link. I clicked the link.
Oh, okay. So keep that link open and then open up GitHub Desktop.
Okay. Got it.
And then in the top left, you know how you pick between Capstone and Blog and that picker that lets you switch between projects?
Mhm.
Click on that, and then there's an add button. Click Clone Repository.
Okay. And then
Make sure you're on the URL tab and then paste in that URL. And hit clone.
so should I find it first? Or wait, is there? Sorry, I can't.
You got it cloned? You got it selected up here in the picker now?
Yeah. So I shouldn't have.
Okay, great.
Should I have the HTTPS or should I just have the GitHub?
So you've got the URL selected. Yeah, make sure that has HTTPS in there, and then just hit clone.
It's telling me I can't find it.
Do you mind sharing your screen real quick?
Okay. Hold on one sec. Where are you? Your screen. Where'd it go? So.
Yep. So click into that picker.
Oh wait.
Yep, exactly. Click in the picker. Yep. And yep, add, clone. Yep. Click on URL. So make sure you're on the URL tab so we can paste in. Yeah, there you go. Clone. Perfect. And then hit that open in VS Code. So once you got this clone down, hit the open in VS Code, and you should have this project open up in VS Code. Nice.
Thanks. Can you take me off? Oh, there it is.
All right, so I'm going to do the same. I'm going to open up in VS Code. All right. Everybody able to get some code? Get the project opened up, cloned and open.
Yeah.
Doug, Latonia, Schneider. Looking good? Okay, sweet. All right. So let me quickly explain what's going on here. So you'll see there's a number of files here. Each one of the files represents one of the resources in AWS. Let's go and look at the simplest one here. Let's look at the bucket.tf. So open up bucket.tf. Looks like there's
I need an extension to see .tf files.
I'm sorry, what do you say?
Sorry, do I need an extension for the .tf files? I mean, VS Code is recommending that the marketplace has an extension, so.
Yeah, if you want the syntax highlighting, I'm actually doing that right now on my
Gotcha.
screen.
Okay.
If you want it, yeah. So go ahead and if you want that extension, feel free to add it. All right. So for the folks that did the well, so Latonia and Doug, this probably looks a little familiar if you're looking in here. Notice how we have this static website block. We have index document equals index.html. Recall in class, we had to go and hunt with the students. We had to go and actually hunt these settings down. We had to go and enable static website hosting on the S3 bucket. We had to type in index.html and set that on the S3 bucket. And then also recall in class the Terraform, the policy that we had to set on the bucket. So if you click on that other file, Terraform capstone policy, this should look really, really familiar to some of the stuff we did in class. So this is the exact same stuff, but instead of doing it in the UI in the Amazon web UI, we're doing it through code. So what the bucket Terraform is saying is that we're going to create an AWS bucket. The name of the bucket is going to come from some variable called S3 bucket. It has a policy which is defined in that JSON file, and the bucket is going to act like a website, and it's going to serve the index.html when someone tries to open up the bucket. All of this we could do through the AWS web UI. We could do all of this, but we're going to do it through code instead. This code probably looks different than code that you've seen before, right? It's not like JavaScript. It's not like Python. It's kind of its own language. This is the Terraform. This is the Terraform language. Questions, thoughts so far? Am I confusing the heck out of people?
It's amazing what you could do with code.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and especially for the folks that have seen us doing this in class. I mean, I walked students through setting up an S3 bucket. It took us, I don't know, 30 minutes-ish to create a bucket. We're about to do it with one line of code, or sorry, one command and return. We're about to do the same thing.
So is each file Amazon thingamajigga, like, you know, one file is the bucket, the other the beanstalk and all that? Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. So let's jump ahead to the next resource. We're just going to kind of do an overview of these files and what they're doing. So let's click over on CloudFront. Remember, with CloudFront, when we set up CloudFront, the visualization I was trying to draw is S3 is the core, CloudFront is the shell around it, right? And when you go to set up CloudFront, you have to tell CloudFront, okay, I want this S3 bucket linked up with CloudFront, right? You need the two of them to talk together. You need the CloudFront to pull files from S3 and distribute it as close to the user as possible. Well, that setting is actually here on line 7. So the domain name. This is where we're setting the S3 bucket, and we're saying, okay, the CloudFront distribution is powered by this AWS S3 bucket, the capstone bucket. And then down below, all of these things that you see in code, these are all of the settings that you could configure on a CloudFront distribution. So all the things that come by default, when you set up a CloudFront distribution, that is what you see here in the code. Any questions about the CloudFront object? I should also point out before I turn it over for questions, I should also point out that there is documentation for all of these objects. So for example, the AWS CloudFront distribution, that resource that you see here on line 5, there is all of this documentation on Terraform's website. I'll post a link if you want to check this out. There's all this documentation about what each of these flags do, in addition to working examples of this code. Like you'll notice here in the documentation, this looks suspiciously similar to the code I have in my repo. Well, that's because I copy and pasted it. I couldn't tell you what every single one of these properties is doing. I could guess, but a lot of this stuff is just how AWS sets up CloudFront, and a lot of these things are just defaults that come with it. Okay. So if you're interested in learning more about what each of these properties are doing, I would definitely point you to the docs that I linked. But anyways, that's CloudFront in Terraform code. Anybody have any questions so far about CloudFront? Okay, let's move on to Elastic Beanstalk. Remember that Elastic Beanstalk is kind of like our Heroku in AWS. It's what's going to hold our backend code. It's also going to manage our database. So I'm just going to point out a couple things here. Elastic Beanstalk has two types of primitives. It has an application and an environment. You can run multiple applications within an environment. So that's why you see there are two resources here. There's an Elastic Beanstalk application and an Elastic Beanstalk environment. You must have an environment for each application. And we're just going to create one application today. But notice here in the solution stack name, we are going to be using Node.js 14. This could be Go, this could be Python, this could be your favorite programming language. There are a number of different languages that Elastic Beanstalk supports. And then all of the settings that you see down below are related to setting up a database. So if we do this right, we'll get an AWS database, a Postgres database specifically, a Postgres database running Postgres 13.7 on a DBT3 micro, so a very, very small AWS instance. We'll get all of these things set up for us for free if we do this right. Okay. Last, there's two other files in this demo that I want to point out. There is provider.tf, and this is just a Terraform boilerplate. We're going to connect to AWS, and we're going to make it do a bunch of stuff. We're going to make it create all of these resources that we just went through. So provider.tf just tells Terraform, here's how you log in. We are going to give Terraform an access key and a secret key, and that's how Terraform is going to be able to log in and do these things on our behalf. In region, for now, we're just going to put everything in US East 1, so that will just stay the same. All right, and then everywhere that you saw in the code, var dot, so back in provider, there was a var dot AWS access key, var dot region, in bucket, var dot S3 bucket. Everywhere you see var dot references these variables that are defined in this variables.tf. So this is just like in JavaScript. This is us doing const or let well, Python's not a good example because you could kind of lazy initialize variables. But either way, this is like declaring our variables ahead of time, right? So there are 4 required variables that we need to fill out in order to make Terraform run. So let's talk about how we fill those out. To fill these variables in, create in this folder where you're looking at the code, create a new file and call it terraform.tfvars. Terraform.tfvars. This is where we're going to put those values in. I just want to quickly call out that terraform.tfvars is get ignored in this project. And that's because we're about to put some sensitive stuff in here, right? We're about to put our access key and our secret access key in here. So
I was just about to
Terraform-
ask that because I looked in the get ignore and it says .terraform all and terraform .all. So I guess by naming it Terraform and any extension, got it. Okay, cool.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So we're going to initialize each of these variables in this file. We're going to provide it with a value. So to do that in terraform.tfvars, the syntax for that is simply the name of the variable that you want to initialize with the value, and then you wrap it in quotes like so. So we're going to do this for each of those variables. There's 4 of them. They're also on the slides for easy copy pasting. So AWS access key, secret key, S3 bucket, and then on slide 105, I have a copy pastable version of this. So I'm actually going to go cheat, and I can also paste this into Zoom chat. So feel free to copy from Zoom or from the slides, or feel free to type it out. It's up to you.
I'm sorry, Nate, you said the region was default, so that's why we're not including that?
Exactly, yep.
So we're getting our own access key that we saved or secret key that we saved and access key that we saved, right?
Exactly, from the machine user earlier, yep.
But
So
we use
use-
your things for S3 bucket and RDS password?
No, for the S3 bucket, you need to use your own S3 bucket name.
Oh, I see, okay.
And I
Like the
recommend,
password that you created for the account, the S3 account, or the AWS account.
so the RDS password is for your database. It's going to be the database we're going to create it's going to be a Postgres database. So set this to something really to something that you'll remember.
Right, just write it down, yeah.
Yep, and just write it down. I'm going to do something insecure. A couple things to call out here though. Make sure that the RDS password is at least 8 characters long. That's Postgres is going to yell at you if you don't do that. And then on the S3 bucket, remember that this has to be unique across the entire world. So like you should probably prefix it with your name or something unique, because just Terraform Capstone, for example, someone's already got a bucket named that. So Christy.
So kind of similar to Kyle's question. So because I'm just following along today, just as my brain is. So like you said, for where you have S3 bucket, that would be whatever I create, whatever I want to create in the S3 as my new project. And
Exactly.
and then the password that I create when I create the bucket. So are we creating the bucket here, or we're going to go in and we're creating the S3 bucket here? We're just setting up. I already have a password. So every time that I get ready to go in, or each bucket has each project has a different password, right?
Right. And
Okay.
remember, this is the password for the database. It's not for the S3 bucket. And it's not for your Amazon account either. Remember, Christy, you remember that when we were creating Postgres through Elastic Beanstalk, remember how we would go in and set a password for that Postgres?
Right. Right.
And then it was the same password that we used when we logged in with Beekeeper, when we logged in from our machine. It was that same password. That's the password that we're talking about. This is what Postgres is going to get.
Okay.
This is the user of Postgres.
Okay, I'm writing it down. So, okay, I wanted to clarify. Okay, I got it now. Thank you.
Larry?
And for the access key, when we made the machine user, is that the access key we're using?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so the ID is for the key, and then the secret is the access. All right.
Yep. Yeah, good call. I think I probably need to rename these. So instead of access key, there should be access key ID, right? And then the other one is secret access key. So I'm going to make those changes in the code later. But good point. Those should be synced up. Doug?
So do we need to do this? Do we need to do a new bucket and a new backend for every project?
No. You can do multiple applications per environment. So you can have one environment in Elastic Beanstalk, one environment with one database being used by multiple applications. So no, you can do this once for one backend. But right now, the way that this code is set up, it assumes that you're going to do all of this once for each project. So what we're about to do is we're about to create S3 CloudFront and Elastic Beanstalk. If you wanted to run multiple backends and multiple front ends, yeah, you could do both of those without necessarily recreating all of this stuff.
So having already set up the blog project for the capstone from in class,
Mhm.
do I reuse any of that?
No, just for the purposes of today and for this demo, just create something new. Pick a new S3 bucket name.
Yep. Okay. And it'll create,
Yeah.
and we're creating a new Elastic Beanstalk environment as well.
It will create that for you. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. All right, once you have these values, let's go ahead and jump into how to actually run Terraform on this. So we have valid Terraform code, we have all these TF files, and we have valid variable values. So we have this TFRs filled out, which means that all of the variables that we specify now have a value. So how do we actually run this code? Well, let's open up a terminal. And this time we need to open up a terminal here in this folder. So not just anywhere on our computer, but right here where these TF files are inside of this directory. So I'm going to open an integrated terminal.
Quick question, would this video be posted?
What'd you say?
Would this video be posted?
Yes.
Okay, because I kind of got behind. I was contemplating creating a new bucket because I already have one for my project, so I don't know if I should create another one.
Don't create a new bucket. We're going to have Terraform do all of that for us.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Because I already like, you know how we already created a bucket in class, so I wasn't sure if I should create another one through here as well.
Yeah, let's create another one through here, and then we can destroy it later if you don't want it.
Okay, gotcha.
So just to clarify, in TF-vars, for your S3 bucket name, make sure it's something that's not going to collide with the bucket that you already have created. So make sure that it's just named, really just names anything but a bucket that you already have.
Heard, understood.
Cool. All right, so once you have a terminal open in in this folder, if you do an ls in there, you should see, yes, there are some Terraform files in here, which means you're in the right spot. Okay. So the first command we're going to run is just Terraform. If you run Terraform, I'll do that again, Terraform in the terminal, you should get a bunch of help text like this. So usage says a bunch of different things. If you don't see Terraform, let me know, because that means it wasn't installed. It should say like Terraform, global options, subcommand, etc.
We should be in documents, GitHub, Terraform.
Mhm. All right. So if you're able to run Terraform, the first command I'm going to talk about is Terraform plan. If you try to run Terraform plan, it's going to say inconsistent something or other. Are other people getting this? Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, I wasn't in my Git folder when I downloaded, when I cloned the Terraform stuff. Does that matter?
It does. So go to wherever the TF files are and open up a terminal there.
Right, I'm aware the files are, but Christy pointed out that y'all were in document GitHub Terraform. That doesn't matter on my end as long as I'm in the actual folder where Terraform is, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Nate, I have a question.
Yeah.
Mrs. Latonia, mine is saying invalid argument name, and it's directing me to line 3 in the TFRs file. It's saying I should take out the quotes. Is that right?
Share your screen. Is it that silly thing where the quotes are getting pasted wrong?
Oh, I did my manual. Hold on.
Oh, actually, don't share your screen.
Oh, okay.
Now that I think about it, because
Oh yeah, I actually have my keys up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually wrote everything by, well, you know what I did is I wrote them and then I just copied from the same file on the other two. Should I just write them again? Maybe, do you think that might be?
Gosh.
better? Like how the smart quotes would do if you copied them.
That's what I'm thinking, is it's smart quotes that are messing with you.
Let's see, I'm just replacing them just to see if it'll
Okay.
do anything, and I'll just run that Terraform plan again. Yeah, it doesn't like it. Argument names must not be quoted.
Can you cut those keys off and then share your screen?
Cut those. Oh yeah, I can just close it. Yeah. Hold on.
If not, if they show up on the recording, I can trim them out.
Can you see my screen?
I can see a background. Yes.
Can you see? Oh, hold on. I'm pulling the wrong thing.
Okay. Argument names must not be quoted. Oh, don't put quotes around the S3 bucket. It's just the value. No, it's in TFVARs. Don't open up
okay.
TFVARs,
Go
because
in
that's
and
where
okay. Okay.
Yeah, the left side of the equals. The left side of the equals, don't put quotes around it. I can share my screen and show you what I mean.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so notice here, I don't have this quoted. So on the left side, make sure it's unquoted. On the right side for the value, you have to quote. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, you're okay, Christy.
I'm not in documents, GitHub /Terraform. I don't know. Well, I'm not sure how to, because I opened it in VS Code through GitHub, but that's not showing up. So I just need to type that in.
So you opened it in VS Code, you got VS Code open, right?
Yes.
Right click over on the Finder window and hit open and integrate terminal.
Right.
Do you have a terminal open?
Yes. But I don't have this, like the squigglies where it says document.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because my terminal looks different than yours. That's okay. But yeah, my terminal is just different. That's fine. But if in your terminal, if you type in pwd and hit enter, does it say documents GitHub?
Let me see. No, it just says Christie's MacBook. Terraform capstone. It's not-
Yeah. Christie's MacBook /document/GitHub, right?
It's not, I don't see anything
No.
that says GitHub. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Okay, can you share your screen?
Okay. See, I don't see.
Cool. Yeah, but you're in the right spot. Your terminal just looks different than mine. So you did PWD. Notice how it printed out you were in documents.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even see that. And I got my glasses on. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead and stop sharing. I don't want to accidentally see your keys.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, no problem.
I have
Anybody
a
else?
not code related question, just because I'm going to be deploying your blog and I named it Nathan's blog, but I don't know if you want me to name it something specific for the S3 bucket name there.
Just for the S3 bucket, just don't pick my name because we'll collide and one of us won't get the bucket name.
No, I just called it Nathan's blog, but I don't know if you care because this is going to be deployed for your.
I don't care. I doubt you're gonna get Nathan's blog. That sounds pretty common. You might do
Oh, I
Nathan's
see.
blog
Yeah.
-1.
Okay.
All right. So before we run the Terraform plan, we have to do this one time, and I need to update the slides to include this in there, but we need to run Terraform init. This is kind of like npm install, but for Terraform. So to do that, we say Terraform init. And this is just installing all of the Terraform dependencies. It's downloading a copy of the AWS APIs. So do Terraform init in your terminal. It's being pretty slow today. All right. It should say Terraform has been successfully initialized. Let me know if you don't get that. It's very similar to node modules. There's now a .terraform folder. That is the equivalent of node modules in Terraform land. If you open that up, you'll see there's a bunch of stuff in there, but we don't have to go and look at that folder. But Terraform init, that's what we want to get to. And then I think this would be a good time to take a quick bio break. Sound good? Can we do 15? Come back in 15? Sound good? All right. See everybody 15. Zoom. Cool. All right, so where we left off, we just got done running Terraform init. And Terraform init is safe to rerun over and over and over again, just kind of like npm install is safe to run over and over and over again. So there's really two commands to think about with Terraform. There's Terraform. Well, you learned one already, Terraform init, but the two primary commands we're going to use is Terraform plan and Terraform apply. Terraform plan is also safe to run over and over and over and over again. So let's go ahead and run Terraform plan. So type in Terraform plan. It should spit out a whole bunch of stuff at you.
Yeah, you're not
I was gonna say yes.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
And is it recorded now, or is it still not recording?
No, it's recording.
We're recording right now. Yep. Yeah, so the command is Terraform space plan. And if you have everything correct, it should say something along the lines of 4 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. Does everybody see something like that?
I must have skipped something. I'm still getting the error.
Me as well.
When we got the
So-
error, then we did Terraform init, right?
Right.
It says it's successfully initialized.
Okay. Do a Terraform plan.
And I got invalid character Terraform tvars line 1. Well, what did I do there?
So go into terraform.tf vars and make sure, check out my screen. Make sure that you have something similar to this. So unquoted, quoted on the right. Make sure your TF vars. If you've got, Larry, are you also getting the TF vars area?
Oh, I have semicolons at the end of my lines.
Nice.
I am getting an error, but it says configuring. It says configuring Terraform AWS provider. Valentine. I don't know what the hell it is. Hold on. Registry provider TF line 1.
Provider.tf line 1. So if you open up provider.tf,
Yeah.
anything weird?
Provider AWS. I'm blind, but I don't see anything.
So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop sharing just to, or stop recording just to make sure we don't link anything here. So, all right. So if your plan worked, you should see 4 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy, and there might be an argument as well. There will be an argument is deprecated warning. This is just a warning. It's not a big deal. Some of my code needs to change a little bit to use some of the newest, the newer APIs. But the gist of this is that Terraform is telling us that it wants to create 4 different things. And there's quite a lot going on here. If you scroll up through this output, you'll see a bunch of green pluses and a whole bunch of text known after apply. All of this stuff is what AWS is going to create for us. All this is what Terraform is going to create for us in AWS. So you'll see it says things like S3 bucket will be created. Elastic Beanstalk environment will be created. So this is describing all of the changes. It's not actually doing it, but it's describing all the changes that it will make based on the code, the Terraform that we have defined. So we can run Terraform plan if you want to do this in the terminal again. You can run Terraform plan as many times as you want. And all it's going to do is it's going to look at what's in AWS, what's in the code, and tell you what the difference is, what Terraform will actually do for you. Christy, did you end up getting a Terraform plan working?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, now let's actually make this stuff happen. So Terraform plan.
I have one question, Nathan.
Go ahead.
What should the relation be between in Terraform tvars S3 bucket, the name that we have for that, versus in bucket TF, the we're under resource S3 bucket, like where yours says capstone.
Mm-hmm.
What should that be in relation to the name that we gave it in the variables file?
Good question. It doesn't matter. This is just for us as programmers. This is not going to, what is up here in the resource name is not what's going to get created in S3. This is just kind of like a variable. It's for us to reference in the code.
Oh, so that won't be the name of the bucket.
Right. The only thing that will actually get put into the bucket name is here on line 2, whatever the value of var.s3 bucket is.
Thank you.
Yep. Good question. Yep. Yeah. So the only thing that this is doing right here, where I have this named capstone, we can name this anything. But the only thing that is used for is over in CloudFront. We actually use it here. We do a .capstone, and that's referring to that object back in that other file. Great question. Okay. So now that we know that that Terraform wants to create these things in these TF files for us, now that we know that, we can actually go and create this. But we can't do it using the Terraform plan command. We're going to use the Terraform apply command. So type in Terraform apply and hit enter. And what it's going to do is it's going to actually run a plan for us. And then it's going to stop and then ask us, do we want to actually apply these changes? When it asks us that, just say yes, hit enter. And then this is the part where Terraform goes and creates all of the stuff for us. We don't have to go into AWS. We don't have to click things. We don't have to copy paste settings. Really, all of this is just being automated for us, which is really nice because it saves us a whole lot of button clicking.
Nathan, I was updating my bucket name. What was the command to run this?
Terraform apply, and then after that, it's gonna prompt you to type in yes and hit enter.
Got it. Thank you.
Mine keeps asking for the secret key first. Every time I do something, it's asking me for the secret key, then I can answer the question.
So did you TF vars? It will only ask you those questions if there's not a TF vars file there. Did you hit save after you've finished entering all the stuff in TF vars?
Not.
Is it any different when you run Terraform now?
I don't know. A bunch of stuff started. Whatever you have coming up your screen is coming up my screen.
Perfect. That's exactly what you want.
Okay.
So is everybody looking at a screen that says something like still creating? Great. Yeah. So the CloudFront is pretty slow. So while this is happening, let me show you what this looks like in AWS. So leave that terminal running. And just check out my screen and I'll show you what's going on behind the scenes. So if you were to go into AWS right now and look at CloudFront, you would see that there is a CloudFront object getting created, getting deployed. You would also see, if you were to go to S3, you would also see that you have a new bucket created with whatever the bucket name is that you chose. I chose Nathan's Terraform Capstone 2. The bucket is there. Notice how the bucket is set to public, which is what we need in order to do static file hosting. Notice that under properties, it has static website hosting already enabled. Notice that it has all of the permissions already set on the bucket. So all of those things that I have, I don't know, 20 slides dealing with in Google Slides, all of that is taken care of for us, because we're doing this through code. So really what we're waiting on right now is we're waiting on CloudFront to finish. Go ahead. We're just waiting on CloudFront to finish deploying, and then our Terraform code is going to move on to setting up the Elastic Beanstalk. Once that's done, we have our stack deployed. There's really only a couple of items left to deal with, but after all of this, after Terraform finishes applying this, we can upload front-end code. We can upload back-end code. We're ready to go at that point.
Quick question.
Mhm.
So, you know how you had them do blog and then they went in and changed it? Could we change the name of the bucket? Change the name of this bucket to something else if we wanted to?
Absolutely.
We add the backend code, so we'd have to change it in the terminal and then do the Terraform plan, apply, and all that stuff again.
Exactly. Yep. You would just go into variables, or sorry, into Terraform TF vars. You would just change whatever the bucket name is to whatever you want it to be called.
Right.
Terraform apply, Terraform play, and Terraform apply. Yeah.
Cool. This is amazing, especially having done it the other way, and to see it what it's doing now. This is cool.
Yeah, this is a lot faster.
Can we change the Elastic Beanstalk environment name as well?
Yes. So if you look at Elastic Beanstalk, right now it's hard coded to Capstone Terraform for both the application and environment name. If we wanted to change that, it would be as simple as creating a variable. So var.elastic Beanstalk app name. And then we would go over into variables. We create a variable here. Right, so this is how we would create a Terraform variable, and then we could either default it to something, or we could go into TF-vars and set it. So Nathan's Elastic Beanstalk app.
And what gets it to update the current setup as opposed to create an entirely new setup?
Good question. So that's where Terraform gets a little tricky. So notice how I already had an Elastic Beanstalk setup. Now I'm going to give it another name. So Terraform is not that smart. Terraform is just going to think that I need to create a brand new Elastic Beanstalk. It's not going to be smart enough to know, okay, the old one was called this, therefore I need to rename it to this. It's just going to go and say, okay, does AWS have an Elastic Beanstalk app called Nathan's Elastic Beanstalk? No? Okay, I need to create one.
And what happens with the old one? Does that just get like garbage collected by AWS, or are we still paying for it?
You're still paying for it. Yep. I don't think Terraform is smart enough to delete it. We might see. Notice how I'm actually going to run into that situation here. So I can tell you here in a second. Let me make that environment as well.
I
Right?
think my AWS is, I don't know what's happening, it's being stupid. It keeps putting me in a security check loop. I put in the CAPTCHA, put in my MFA, put in my password, and just keeps putting me back to the same loop. It's being very weird.
It keeps putting you into the same group, you said?
Loop, like a security check loop. It just keeps me.
That did the same thing to me. I just created a new account on a different email.
I was doing that to you too?
It was from the one I set up. Me and Doug and Christy met, yeah, and Nathan met last time, yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can fix this because my stuff is on this account.
Yeah, I could help with that later if you want an extra set of eyes. Are you able to Terraform plan though, or do you have access key and security key? No? Oh. Are you trying to follow along with us? Yeah.
Yeah, I was. I was just trying into my Amazon account to recreate another key, and yeah, it's just giving me a headache. At first, I was like, "Did somebody change my password?" But it's not possible. I have MFA and 2 factors, so now I don't have no credit charge in my account.
Are you using your phone to do MFA?
Yeah.
Did your phone daylight savings? Did it update?
An update? Are you serious? Let me see.
Well, did it get the daylight savings time change? Because remember, the one-time passwords are based off of time, and if it's an hour off, it's going to generate the wrong one-time password.
That's crazy. All right, I'll see if my phone needs, because right now my time's 6:57. I didn't even know daylight savings was a thing.
I got 6:57 as well, but
Yeah, that's right. Okay. And the other thing too,
do it after class.
Well, the other thing to do is also like open up Safari and try logging in with Safari. Sometimes the AWS browser could be a little weird. But that could be a little weird.
I mean, that's the thing. I am on Safari. I went from Chrome to Safari and getting the same stuff.
Let's just pause real quick. So Larry, will you share your screen? All right, couldn't find resource. So it's trying to find the environment. The environment failed for some reason. So let's open up AWS and let's see why Elastic Beanstalk wasn't able to create. So yeah, open up a browser. And then in services, let's go to Elastic Beanstalk up in the search window. Yep, Elastic. Nice, yep. And then let's click into environments. I think you need to switch from Ohio. So click up on Ohio to US East 1. Yep. All right, let's go back to environments. Yep. There we go. Click on that. Let's see why it was unable to start up. The instance profile AWS Elastic Beanstalk EC2 associated with the environment does not exist.
Yeah, I had the same.
Kyle, you got same error? Okay.
I do, yeah.
So go to IAM in the search box, go to IAM. Click into IAM. Let's click on roles. AWS service role for Elastic Beanstalk. Okay. Click on this. This is the AWS service role for Elastic Beanstalk. We just got to make sure we have the right role set. This is defined in our Terraform code. So if you open up Elastic Beanstalk in Terraform on line 14, that's what it's complaining about in line 14. It's complaining about that EC2 role, that IAM EC2 role does not exist. So let me see what's different on mine compared to everyone else's. EC2 role. Okay. When you launch an environment using the console or the CLI, it creates a AWS EC2 role. Oh, I see. Doug, you didn't hit this, did you?
Sorry, what is it?
You didn't have any problems running Terraform apply, right?
Oh, it was chugging along nicely. And I ended up with argument is deprecated.
But that's fine. You ran apply though, and it finished with argument is deprecated. That's it.
Yes, and an error creating Amazon S3 simple storage bucket, invalid bucket name.
Oh, what bucket name did you pick?
The bucket name I picked, and that's in bucket TF or in variables.
It's in variables.
I picked megadog-rock-paper-scissors.
Is that okay? So go into okay. We'll deal with that here in a second. All right. So the reason why other folks are hitting this issue is because if you don't create an Elastic Beanstalk through the UI, it doesn't generate this one profile for you. So we just need to create a profile that lets us do this. So let's see. You are not subscribed to this service.
Yeah, it can wait. I just want you to know I got an error and it sounds different from everybody else's, but I did do the Ohio thing. And then I ran the Terra plan again, and instead of getting 4, I got 1. So I wasn't sure if I should just run apply again.
Yes.
Okay.
Do run apply again. All right. So, so Doug, or sorry, Larry and Kyle, follow along with me as we do this real quick. So in IAM, go to roles. This is the link for roles. And
Yeah.
Latonia, I think you need to do this as well. So I'll paste the link here. If you've never made an Elastic Beanstalk before, you'll need to follow along with me. And I need to update the code to.
Nathan, mine says global up top, so should I change it back to US?
Leave it as global. Some
Okay.
of this stuff is not region based. IAM is not region based. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a role. So in IAM roles, go up to the top right and hit create role. And
Okay. So do that first one, AWS service, right?
yeah, so we're going to we're going to
EC2.
use, yep. And then let's use the EC2 use case and hit next. Under permissions, there's a couple Beanstalk permissions that we need to give this. So type in the box AWS, type into the box Beanstalk, and we're going to look for a couple boxes to check. The first one is web tier, and then the multi-container Docker, and the worker tier. It looks like on my screen, all three of these were right next to each other. So those are the three permissions and I'll leave this on my screen for you to be able to pick these three things out.
So I type AWS and I get options for managed and managed job function, but it's not
So
changing in the
in
screen.
the search box, type in Beanstalk instead of AWS.
Yeah, that didn't bring anything up.
Under permissions, did you bring anything up on this?
Permission policies, if I start typing Bean, nothing comes up. Maybe Elastic?
Type
No.
Bean and hit enter.
Ah, okay, thank you. Beanstalk tier.
So you got those three. So we're talking about the Beanstalk web tier, multi-container Docker, and worker tier. So those three. Then hit next.
Yeah. It just kind of tripped me up because when I started typing AWS, it was giving me a drop-down menu. So when I didn't get the drop-down menu for Bean, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, no worries. All right, and then for the role name, call this AWS Elastic Beanstalk EC2 role.
I feel like that was exactly what it said in VS Code. I probably could have just copied and pasted. Yeah, it is exact same thing.
All right.
And then you just hit create role.
Yep, and then down at the bottom, hit create role.
Is that it? Do
Okay.
we go back to the terminal?
That's it. Now hop back into the terminal. So wherever your terminal's at, and run Terraform.
Plan again or
Apply.
just apply? Okay.
Just apply. Yep. Terraform apply runs plan beforehand too, so.
Right, you mentioned that, yeah.
Hmm.
Enter a value, yes.
Hey, Nate, I got the same issue about me not being a subscriber, but I followed the whole role. So,
You don't have Terraform vars on your computer, right? You don't have your keys showing?
oh, right. Yeah, no, I don't have them showing.
Can you share your screen?
Hold on one second. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Well, hold on, all my stuff went away. Okay.
Error creating 401. You're not subscribed to this service. Please go to aws.com to subscribe service. EC2 opt-in required. So it's acting like you don't have
Yes.
access.
Everything's open, like I'm signed in and everything. I didn't set up the multi-factor, but I figured I could do that later. That wouldn't cause this, right?
Mhm. Let's see. So open up AWS in the browser.
Okay, hold on one second. I have another tab over here.
And yeah, go to, in the search box, go to EC2.
Here, EC2.
Yep. Yep, click into EC2. All right. This is the issue here. Complete your AWS registration.
What is this?
Stop sharing. I don't know what's about to pop up.
Oh, okay.
But it looks like you have like some registration deal to finish up.
Okay, so just follow through that and then do it again.
Yep.
Okay.
Kyle, how's your apply going?
It's moving along. It's just still creating, so we'll see.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Minimize.
Okay, and then open up a browser and show me AWS. So this is something's going on here in the terminal, but let's just make sure that everything's going as we expect. And yep, and then in here, go to Elastic Beanstalk, the program. So in the search box up at the top, go to Elastic Beanstalk. Yep, it's that third one. Perfect. And there's the pending one. Click on the pending, the first one. Yep. Click into the, it's over on the, yeah, go back. It's over on
Here.
the left. Yeah. It's very specific about where you click. Here we go. Okay. And it's already on the creating RDS database step. Doing great. Nice job.
Cool. Unshare.
Yeah, go ahead. Larry, is yours still sitting
How do I-
creating?
Yes.
Okay. I can just kick you out.
Yeah, it's giving me pause share, but not stop share. It's weird.
Doug, are you doing good? Are you getting a working apply?
No, I stopped when I got that error.
Oh, right. Do you mind sharing your screen? I think yours actually completed.
Okay. Yes, let me just make sure I got nothing sensitive showing. And
Cool. The specified bucket is not valid. It's upset about.
so I was
Yeah.
reading and I saw this, and I think when I was asking you about changing after the fact, changing the names of things, I think I started changing names, but it was still running.
Right.
So it might have capstone somewhere and was expecting this to be bucket.capstone.
I think it's upset because there's a capital D.
Ah,
And then you won't want to show us TFRs, but if you do, you have another monitor you can pull this over to real quick?
yes. Hold
Okay.
on. Okay, what do I want to change?
In TFRs, drop the capital D on Doug to a lowercase d.
I got to move the Zoom controls. Sorry. TFRs.
Yep, so under the bucket, the S3 bucket, just make sure that the capital D is a lowercase d. Save.
Okay, yep, that's lowercase.
All right, come back to the terminal where you're screen sharing. And let's do another Terraform apply.
Let me. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yep.
Yep. So this line here, the S3 bucket was created. Creation complete after 3 seconds. The S3 buckets are super quick to get created through Terraform. It's the other stuff that's kind of slow. So now it looks like you're going to get bogged down on the CloudFront step.
Okay.
But I think your CloudFront stuff is good. If you click back, can you take me to, sorry, not CloudFront. Can you take me to Elastic Beanstalk and show me that your Elastic Beanstalk is coming up? Yeah, there's the Capstone Terraform environment. Yep, that's the new one right there.
You're going to show us how to wipe this out, because I want to rename everything to match and then do it again.
Totally. Yes.
Great.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep. All right.
Nate, when you have a chance, I'm getting the same thing. I must have missed something because I'm getting nothing. Like even in my AWS, I clicked the link we went to, and then it said, "Great, you're done." And then I did the plan, apply. I actually tried it twice. So I don't know if I maybe just missed something somewhere.
Please share.
Okay. I just ran
Oh,
it.
this looks great. There's that plan looks awesome. Do the apply. So
You see how it only says one? It's been saying that for like the last 7 runs.
but that's because I think that everything is created except for the Elastic Beanstalk. So yep, hit apply.
What's
Yep.
this
So
option? Do I have to do that? Because it's saying I didn't opt in, just do yes.
no, you don't have to do that. Yep, just hit yes. And then if we run into that error again, but I think that now that you have the registration complete, I expect to see the environment get created. Can you open up AWS again in a browser? Take me to Elastic Beanstalk. Yep. Okay. Yep. Click into Capstone Terraform there. Yep. Click into that environment one more time.
Oh, sorry. I think I might have hit the wrong place.
And yep, you're running now. So it's creating stuff for you. So this was spinning up your Elastic Beanstalk plus your database.
Okay, so I can stop sharing and let's see if it does what it needs to, I guess.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Okay.
This is exactly what you want to see.
Oh, okay. As soon as I stop sharing, I'm gonna get an error message, but we'll see.
No, no, no. If you're this far into creating an RDS database and all that, it's going to go through. I'm
Okay.
confident it'll go
All
through.
right, thanks.
Yep. Anybody else? Questions?
No, it's saying promising things. I keep thinking it's done, but it's not. It's like so many things successfully. Oh, no. Okay, cool.
Well, so if
Apply complete.
if it's successful, it should say something to that effect. Alternatively, you can hit apply, and if you've applied all the changes, if you've made all of the things, if you hit apply and hit yes, and everything is done, it will just quickly exit. So, but if you've done it all successfully, you should see something like this: apply complete, resources X added, 0 change, 0 destroyed. So if you see that, then
And the AWS screen went back to another page from that, where you said that it was, or had us showing what it was actually doing in the AWS screen. It went to Capstone Terraform within the environments, and it has a health with a big green check mark. So.
yep. That means that things are set up.
Yep.
So this is the infrastructure part. Now that is done, what do we have? Well, what we have is, so we have all three of these technologies. We have the S3 bucket set up, we have CloudFront set up, and we have Elastic Beanstalk. Now we need to actually put stuff, we actually need to do our deploys. So if you don't have something to deploy, I would recommend following along with some blog code. So there's a Node.js app that Max put together, and this is what I'm going to deploy. You can deploy whatever you want. I would go ahead.
You on slide 13? Yeah, okay. I'm just looking for
And there's and there's code in the Zoom chat if you want to grab that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. It's easier.
Are we gonna do this from Terraform too?
The deploys we're not going to do. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way with zipping and npm run build and all that fun stuff.
So Terraform is just best to set up the bucket, the beanstalk, and all this individual stuff, and then you do the deploying through AWS itself.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
This is all the setup done for us through code. Yep.
Could you deploy through Terraform, or is it too much of a headache?
No, you could definitely deploy through Terraform too. Yeah. I don't do that because it's more automation that we need to write, but I would certainly do that on the job, just to make things faster. Well, actually, let me take that back. I would probably do it through CI. I would do it through GitHub Actions, which those are in the slides. And if folks want to do the Git push way of deploying, I'm happy to talk about that. They're also in the slides. I just want to show you how to upload the front end and the back end, and then I think we'll call it there. Both of those things you can do through the web UI. So we're going to do it through that.
Gotcha.
All right.
Nate?
Yeah. Hey,
All right, this is Latonia. So the zip you just gave it, does it have the front and the back in it?
it does. If you open up
Do I
that
need to
zip,
un-
yeah, go ahead and unzip that,
Okay.
and you should see it should have a folder D4 and then a blog backend and a blog front end. Do you see those?
I do.
Okay, great. Sorry, just trying to get my windows organized.
Yeah, and then that folder with the front end and the back end can be anywhere on your computer, despite the fact that where your Terraform repo is located, right?
Yep, absolutely. So let's do the front end first, and then we'll worry about the back end. So we need two things. We need our Finder window with our blog front end code. We need that over on one side, and then we need AWS on the other side. So go and open up AWS, go log into the console, and we're going to upload our front end code, which means we're going to go to S3. So remember, S3 is where we store our front end files. So I'll paste that link here in Zoom. Find the Terraform bucket. I've got a lot on my screen, but find the Terraform bucket, the one that you made, the S3 bucket variable. Find that and click on it. You should be looking at something similar to what you see on my screen. Kind of like a file uploader should be showing up there. Latonia, how are you doing? Are we
My environment is still creating, but I noticed when I just went, I'm on the same page you're on now.
Yep.
Should I be worried about that red alert that is public?
You should have that. That means that your S3 bucket can be read by anyone, which is good because our website should be reachable by anyone. Yep.
Okay, I think I'm okay for now. Thank you.
Okay, great. So on this page, we're going to upload some files. So click on the upload button. And from here, we can drag and drop some stuff. So I know this is real old school, but we're going to take our front end files and we're going to drag them over. But remember, our front end code, we can't just take the JavaScript and just wholesale copy it over, right? We need to do npm run build. We need to generate the build. We need to minify, compress, all of that fun stuff. So let's go do that for our front end code. I'm going to click into the front end, and then I'm just going to get a terminal in here. So you can get a terminal by, let's see.
So we need to, if we downloaded your code, we're going to need to do like npm I and the whole thing. Right?
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
Can we CD in there from our terminal? We don't need this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need this in VS Code. I was just trying to think for folks that don't feel comfortable CDing there, but if you can CD there, that's great. By all means, please do that. The path on my machine would be CD tilde downloads D4 blog front end. However, you can get a terminal here. Do it.
Careers in code, before I was more comfortable in the terminal, I used to often just grab the folder in the Finder and drag it into the dock across the bottom to the VS Code logo, and it would open it in VS Code.
Oh,
So that's one way to do it, like kind of drag and drop it into your dock there. If people want another shortcut.
A better shortcut, I think, is opening in your terminal through GitHub Desktop. Just upload the repo tab, and you can select open in terminal. It's really nice.
So I think I'm preaching to the choir here. Everybody should probably feel comfortable getting to that folder. So once you're in that folder, just like Kyle said, this is a brand new React app, so we need to do the initialization. So npm install to get our node modules, right? And then we need to create the production assets. So npm run build. You'll know you've done this if you have a build folder showing up. And then it's as simple as taking what's in the build folder. So not the build folder itself, but all the files in build, drag that over to S3. If you do this right, over on the page for S3, if you do this right, you'll see there's an index.html that's going to get uploaded to this bucket, along with a bunch of other stuff. But the important jumping off point, right? The important entry point to our website is the index.html. So making sure that's getting copied over is and then hit the upload button in the bottom right. So just to reiterate, we got a terminal in our front end code, npm install to get our node modules, npm run build to get a build folder. From within the build folder, we copied everything in build over to our S3 bucket. Anybody have any questions about that? It's a little bit more involved than pushing to Heroku, git push Heroku main. It's a little bit more involved. All right. Once we've got those files copied into S3, we've done the S3 portion. We still like with that visualization I'm trying to imprint in everyone's mind. The core is S3, the shell is CloudFront. So we've updated the core, we've updated S3. We need to inform the shell. We need to inform the CDN, CloudFront. We need to inform it that the files have changed so it can go and redistribute our files across all of the data centers. To do that, we have to go into CloudFront. And I would recommend, because we keep switching through all these different services in AWS, I would recommend starring each of these just because it puts it up on this bar and makes it real easy to click to. But just go over to CloudFront and let's find the distribution. So here's my distribution right here. Find the distribution for your S3 bucket. You may have one, you may have two. Find whichever one is linked with your S3 bucket, and you can see the S3 bucket here in the origins. Click into that, and then what we need to do is we need to create what's called an invalidation. That's just a fancy way of saying synchronizing the S3 with CloudFront. So if the files change to S3, we need to synchronize those with CloudFront. So we'll go and click on the invalidations tab. It's up here in the top next to general origins, behavior. Click on invalidations and then create an invalidation. We're going to invalidate the old S3 files. When it says add object paths, the path is /star. So this is exactly like in a terminal. If you were to do an ls/star or ls star, this means wipe everything starting at root path. All right, and then create invalidation. Every time you make changes to S3, you have to come in here and hit this create invalidation. Can this be automated? Yes, you can automate all of this stuff. Right now, I'm just kind of showing you the long way of doing this. Once that is done, you can click back to CloudFront or in the breadcrumbs up at the top, get back to your distribution somehow, back to where we were when we were going to click invalidations. You can see your front end right now. It's this distribution domain name. So on the general tab at the top, this distribution domain name, that funky hash.cloudfront.net, if you copy that, paste it into the browser and hit enter, you should see Max's awesome blog. You should start seeing some front end code. So congratulations, you have the first part. You have the front end code. All right, back end code. Anybody have questions before we move on from the front end code?
Everybody. Yay!
Nothing more fun on a Sunday evening than creating CloudFront distributions. Anybody have any trouble creating the front end files? Otherwise, I'm gonna keep on pressing on. Try to get this back end done here in the next 15 minutes, and then we can call it for the evening. Okay, let's do backend code. So backend, Elastic Beanstalk. Going up to the top, I'm going to star this again because I'm going to have to flip back and forth. I'm going to star Elastic Beanstalk and click into it. Find the environment. If it says try the new console, don't try the new console. Use the old console. We had so many problems with the new console during class this last week. Stay on the old console if it gives you an option. Click into
I
where
had
you're.
had an error before, and I have two up here. One says Capstone Terraform, the other one says Capstone Terraform terminated. So I'm guessing the terminated one is the one when we had the error with the EC2 role. Yeah.
Yep. Ignore that one. Yep. Click on the other one. So whichever one is. Yep.
I'm just wanting to understand all the pieces of what I'm seeing on here. So.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Totally. And I think you can go back and I think you can select it. And I think you can click on actions, terminate, maybe. I don't know how you clean that up, to be honest. Okay, so you should be looking at a green health check, upload and deploy, Node.js icon. This is, so think of this as kind of like the backend management page. To upload code, you obviously hit the upload and deploy button. So you can go ahead and click on that now. The way that you upload backend code is different than the front end because we don't need to minify our Node.js server, right? We don't need to do any of that front end stuff. So what we do for the backend code is we take the backend and we zip it up and we upload it through this UI. So front end, npm run build, backend, zip. It's two different.
npm I in the back end, right?
Yeah. So let's go do the back end. So get a terminal wherever your backend code is.
I just assumed so I did that, but okay.
Yep, do an npm. Well, actually, you don't even need to do an npm install. The thing that you need to do is actually delete the node modules. You don't want to accidentally zip up the node modules when you send it.
Right. Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Wait, let me make sure I'm doing the right thing. So I'm in my back end. And oh, you know what? I'm not in my back end. Hold on, let me get it.
While you're getting there, on my screen, notice how I have node modules. I'm actually gonna get rid of those because I don't want to upload the node modules. The environment on my machine is different than the environment in AWS, and the node modules I install on my computer are potentially a different architecture than what's on AWS. So I don't want to accidentally zip up and send the node modules. You can totally npm install and have node modules here, but just be very careful when you're going to make the zip and make sure you don't select the node modules folder, or even easier, just delete it.
Yeah.
But however you want to do it for the backend code, go into the backend folder, select everything, sans node modules, however you want to do that. Right click, compress. It's going to make the zip folder. And then to upload it, it's as simple as going over to AWS, clicking the choose file, and then navigating to where that zip is, selecting it, and then you would hit deploy. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, my Zoom froze real quick, so I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. So basically, we just have to get rid of node modules. Okay.
Yeah, let me share real quick. Yeah, so right here, notice how, let me get rid of this. Notice how I don't have a node modules. I'm going to select everything, right click, and hit compress. That's going to create a zip.
Okay. Thank you.
That's what I'm going to upload. Yep. It's telling me that I can't upload without a version label. You can call this whatever you want. I'm going to say this is blob-1 and hit deploy. And then your green check mark's going to go to a lovely gray while it's uploading. Anybody having problems uploading a backend? Okay,
I'm not having any problems. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So when I went into my backend, I didn't see any node modules.
that's fine. Yeah, if you hadn't run npm install, then
Okay.
you should
Yeah,
have
I
seen
wasn't
any.
sure. Okay, thank you.
I was getting ahead of
Right.
myself, 'cause I thought we'd have to build.
Well, so spoiler alert, the backend's gonna crash, and I don't know if everybody remembers this from their cohort, but Max always includes a race condition in the blog backend that we have to fix. So this code is going to crash, and unfortunately, well, we're not going to debug it, right? Like nobody cares to actually get the blog backend running. I just want to show you how to.
Just drilling my head how to debug it at this point.
I
Use
don't
my-
think Max did that in our cohort, because you were the one that taught the deployment module.
Yeah, I think I
You
either I
deployed your
glossed over-
store.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then our
I think
actual
he's-
capstones, so, yeah.
I think he's screwing with me at this point because it's just so blatant that I think he intentionally puts it in there to mess with me. All right. Is anybody's backend deploy finished? Is anybody getting something different than that?
It's got a red exclamation, it says degraded.
Okay, so it's crashing. So this is the last thing I'm gonna kind of leave. I'm gonna leave you with in terms of what I'm gonna show you on my screen. The most important thing, you remember this from Heroku, the most important thing, logs, right? Over on the left, the logs is front and center. And we can go, I don't know why I'm in my screen. We can go and click on logs. The UI is kind of funky. You have to click request logs up here in the top, last 100 lines. Every time you want fresh logs, you have to do this again. You have to go up there and click request logs.
Okay.
Once you've requested the logs, you click download. There's a ton of stuff in here. This is basically a log bundle from several programs running in Elastic Beanstalk. The one you care about is var log web standard out. There's a whole bunch of other ones like EB engine log, EB hooks log, nginx access log, error log, app sample app. Ignore all of that. The log you care about is this web.log, web standard out.log. And if you uploaded the blog along with me, what you should be seeing is an econ refused. Does anybody know what error this is?
That's
Let me take a
Postgres,
guess.
isn't it?
It's Postgres, right? 5432. So everybody seeing like a 5432 error in their logs?
I only have 3 lines under the web standard out.log.
Oh, really?
Yeah, unless I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Can you show us what you have?
Yeah.
Oh, server running. Elastic Beanstalk. Oh, I don't think your deploy is finished. These are old logs. Go back to Elastic Beanstalk. Yep, close. You can close that if you want. And then go to the environment. So go back to the main page.
Here?
Yep, and then click into the degraded one. Yep. All right, it's totally degraded. Yep. Click into logs. Let's request some new logs. Yep, request last 100. And then the last log will be the bottom one.
Okay.
Web standard out log. It's still running the old version. Interesting. This is so when you create Elastic Beanstalk, this is the default program that it comes with. That's what we're seeing.
I could be mistaken, but I want to say that it might be the top one that's actually valid because I looked at the timestamps on mine and I think the top one was a newer one, but I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, okay. Show us the old one. It's 44. It's
Go back to the page where it was on, like the capstone Terra page.
Yeah, I
Look at
clicked.
the timestamp. Well, 40. Okay, I'm sorry, my bad.
That's okay. I think it's just, I think to deploy actually didn't take Kyle. Go back to Elastic Beanstalk and click back to environments. Yep. Or that works too. Yep. Yep. Click in there. Do the upload and deploy one more time. Give us same file. Oh, wait. Not blog backend. Click into blog backend.
Oh.
Grab
I'm
all of
supposed
this
to zip-
stuff.
Okay. Oh, that's what I did. Okay.
I think can you do it from here, from Finder? Will it let you do it in Finder?
Yeah, I did it in the terminal and I just zipped the whole folder, so
Oh,
I should have
Yeah,
put a
it's-
star when I did the folder, right? Like,
it's very specific. So open up Finder.
probably just do it in the Finder, right?
Yeah, it's very, very specific. I don't have the terminal command handy because it's very specific.
Yeah, I mean, I know how to zip stuff in the terminal, but I don't know about specifically doing just within the folder, so maybe I'll play
Right,
around with
right.
it later, but for now, let's see. Let me just do it in the Finder then.
Yeah, good call.
So,
Yep, select everything, right click, compress,
okay.
and that's what you want. Yep.
Log. Right. So this.
Click into blog backend.
Okay, and
Yep.
yeah, I just don't want to confuse myself, so.
Cool. And then give it a version label,
All
like
right.
blog 1 or something.
Yeah.
Cool. Deploy. And then if you scroll down a little bit, Kyle, you could see this is kind of like the terminal. You could see these are the events happening. Once we get to instances updated,
Mhm.
we'll know that it's we're ready to go and look at logs. Larry, were you able to get a Postgres-ish looking log error message?
I didn't get an error because I used my actual capstone, so I'm good.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. All right. Deploying new version instances, so we're still rolling stuff out.
Yeah.
Actually, let's just go check logs now. Let's see. Maybe it's a little quick, but let's see if there's anything different. Oh, there we go. Yep. Now hit the logs. Let's go see. Logs over on the left. We've got to re-request them.
Sorry,
It's
I'm
annoying.
distracted because I'm trying to figure out the zip stuff too. Down the lower one, right?
Nope, go back. We got to re-request every time. It's
Oh,
not that awesome.
right.
Oh, yeah. And if the app is crashing, then it doesn't want you to. It's yeah. Refresh this page. Let's see if. All right, now hit request. Yep. Last one.
Oh, cool.
There we go.
Much better.
There's your 5432 connection refused error. All right.
I'm just looking for the actual error here. Connection refused. Okay, here we go. Found it.
Yep.
Actually, I do have an error. Actually,
Do you want to share?
okay.
Yep, there it is. Econ refused 5432. All right. You're right where we expect. So what's going on? Well, Latonia already answered. It's Postgres. So what did we do with Heroku? Does anybody remember how we connected to Heroku database?
We did a command in the terminal to find out what our database stuff was in Heroku.
Yep. we did that for forming the connection string to Beekeeper. For our app to be able to reach Heroku, remember there was environment variables that Heroku provided. It's the same thing with AWS, and it's in the slides. So let me share my screen and point you to some resources. So it's the same exact thing with AWS. If you go to slide 71, these are the 5 variables that Elastic Beanstalk gives you: RDS hostname, port, DB name, username, password. It's the same thing as Heroku, except the name for the variable is a little bit different. So you will want to update your backend to use these environment variables when it's making the connection.
Nate, can
Questions
you
on that?
your slides? Can you send the link again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do have a question, Nate. So would we go into the code locally, change it, and then upload the backend again, or
Yep.
we just okay?
Yep,
Thank
exactly. So that's one of the things that we have to change. There's one other thing that we did in Heroku that you might not remember. We actually need to bind to a specific port. Remember how with Heroku gave us a port that we needed to bind to on server startup when we did server.listen? Does anybody remember that? I know this was a little while ago, but it's the same thing in AWS. We need to bind to a port when we start up, and the port is an environment variable called port. So same thing as what you see here, where you do process env.rds hostname. It's the same thing, process.env.port. And what that looks like in code is exactly what you'd expect. So if I open up some code here, it's exactly what you expect. So if I go down to where Node.js is binding, so the server.listen, it's hard coded to 3001, change that to process.env.port. It's exactly what you would expect with these environment variables. Same thing for where I'm doing my database connection. Instead of having this hard coded string, I would replace that to use the variables. It's exactly what you would expect. Yeah, go ahead, Christy.
I still have the remember you shared the GitHub blog / backend lines 4 through 17. Do you think that would be helpful for them?
GitHub line. The code. I'm confident that these folks know how to combine environment variables into a string.
Okay.
Larry, go ahead.
So if we're going to be running this locally, should we have like or statements in there? So either use.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Yep.
you.
Exactly. If you're going to run this locally, check to see if the environment variable is declared. If it's not, run local. Otherwise, use the environment variables. Yep.
Thank you.
Exactly what you expect. And if you have questions, Christy has that link to some example code if you're interested. Any other questions about wiring up to the database and the port? Those are really the only two major things I can think of for running on Elastic Beanstalk. There is. Go ahead.
Oh no, go.
I was
Well,
just delete stuff so that I don't end up getting charged for this example.
That was actually
Yep.
my question. I was gonna I'll keep the
Example
question,
code
I
or whatever.
mute everything.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll delete. The last thing that I want to mention is obviously we haven't talked about the front end and the back end communicating, right? We have the front end deployed on CloudFront and we have the back end on Elastic Beanstalk. To make those two things talk together, we will need more time, and we're running out of time tonight. So if you want to learn more about that, we can meet during this week. And I'll leave that for folks to decide if they want to do that. The other thing too is we haven't wired up a domain name either. So like wiring up our Namecheap to point to Elastic Beanstalk, Namecheap to point to CloudFront. There's some trickery involved there. There's some steps involved there.
So we couldn't
Yeah.
just go back and see how it's wired, because I saw the gibberish, address or whatever, and I figure, I just need to go in Namecheap and put that where the other one was, but
You do.
is there
You
more to
do.
it than that?
You need to update the CNAME like you're talking about. You need to set that record to point exactly like you're
What it was
describing.
called, but yeah.
But one of the things that Heroku did really nicely is they issued us TLS certificates. We have to create those ourselves. And there's a whole DNS challenge that has been problems or cumbersome. So anyways, let me show everybody real quick how to tear stuff down. To tear things in AWS down, there's really two options. There's the Terraform way, and then there's the just go in and delete it way.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
wait.
go ahead.
Not sharing your screen.
Yeah. So I'm gonna show you how to do it through AWS, and then you can, if you're interested in learning about the Terraform way, we can talk about that later. But let me show you really quick how to tear this stuff down using just using AWS. So go into AWS. Where are the big things that will cost us the most money? Well, it's Elastic Beanstalk, because Elastic Beanstalk spins up a server for you and it spins up a database. Those are going to be the two most expensive things. So to get rid of both of those, go to environments, find what environment that you don't want anymore, and terminate it. So I'm going to find my Terraform, capture Terraform, go up to actions. I'm going to terminate that environment. And it says it's going to terminate a bunch of other stuff. That's great. That's what we want. We want to clean up those resources. So if you don't want any of this stuff, just go into here and terminate these things.
Based on what you just said about possibly having another session, I'm not going to actually do this right now, but it's just good to know how to do it. So
yeah, well, I need to, because I've done this demo, and like I think I have a couple of these floating around. So also remember, this isn't really going to cost you more than a couple of dollars for the first year. So it's good to be paying attention to this stuff. But if you don't,
I don't want to leave it for more than a couple of weeks, because then I will forget about it. So
yeah.
But Nate, if you set up a part 2, you'll just post so we know.
Yeah.
When that's happening, if we can make it.
Yeah. Let's talk about that here in 1 second. Elastic Beanstalk. So I just showed you how to delete Elastic Beanstalk. Let's talk about the CloudFront real quick. You go into CloudFront. It's the same sort of thing. From the CloudFront page, you hit disable. You don't even have to delete it. As long as you hit disable, you won't get charged anymore for it, because no one will be downloading anything. And then S3, I'm not going to do this, but in S3, it's just as simple as going in and deleting the bucket again. You could do that from this main page where you select it with the radio and then hit delete. The one quirk with S3 is that you have to delete everything in the bucket before you can delete the bucket itself. So you have to go in, click in, and then from within, clear out all the files using the checkbox, hit delete, come back to the main, then delete the bucket. It won't let you do it the other direction for whatever reason. If you have those 3 things deleted, you're pretty much good. IAM, you technically have a machine user created an IAM. That's going to be, I don't even think you're going to get charged for that. But you could also delete that IAM user if you want. All right, that's it. Do people want to meet for a second session to actually get the front end and the back end talking, and also wire up a domain?
Most definitely.
Okay. Does anybody have a problem with doing this again in exactly 1 week's time, same time? I think this week is already going to be kind of crazy enough. Is everybody good with waiting until next Sunday?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Keep it simple, same time and everything. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for coming, and I really appreciate you. You don't know how much this helps me with developing the next set of curriculum, especially the practice with the Terraform. I already have a whole bunch of notes for stuff I need to fix. So I really, really appreciate it. This is going to make it so much better for
Oh, so
others.
so do we. Thank you, Nathan, for doing this.
Definitely.
We appreciate you so much.
And thank you so much, our student leader, Christy, for recommending it.
Yes.
So you've been officially nominated our student leader, Christy, if you don't know. You, Madam President for cohort 3.
I feel like Latonia is the president. I'm the vice president.
Well, she is. Latonia's the Pope.
I was gonna say I'll be the vice president.
Well,
Thank you. We can't thank you enough. This is I sent Doug a message in Slack and I was like, I feel so smart right now because I know how to do it both ways. Like I feel like I'm feeling really good about myself right now. I'm feeling really smart. So
I wouldn't say I know how to do it both ways. I've just seen it.
We know a lot. We know a lot, Doug. You gotta admit we know a lot.
Well, thank you, everybody. God willing, I will see y'all on the 16th Thursday so we can have graduation.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you guys Thursday, and then we'll see you back on Sunday. Thank you again.
Sounds good. See y'all. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.